I'm here. Yes, greetings. I'm gonna see if I can get this started in the best of ways. Here at the center, and as you possibly may be able to, there seem to be some um, lot of activity that is taking place. Needless to say, one will continue to do its best to proceed on in the best of ways with this PowerPoint presentation. See if I can upload it or if it will upload. Don't seem like it will, but I'm gonna try again. If not, you see in the background of the images that took place in a what is called the disgruntledness of responding to a spirit of apathy, and the reason why I say it's a spirit of apathy, it is because of when demands are not being met by the people. That's how they will respond. But it also represents too a sense of a sense of not being very civil and and not organizing that particular expression. That's why Kwame Ture says that the duty of the conscious is to make the unconscious aware of its unconscious behavior. Let's see if this shows up on the screen. Let's see here what we got. Yes. Okay. Let's see if we could. We don't want that. We want this here. Okay. Here we go. Look like we're getting somewhere. Okay. Yes, this is a dealing with social. My name is Kevin Patrick. I am also known as Reverend Wally Moo, and the term reverence it evolved. Um, I remember I did a presentation, um, and the gentleman walked up to me after the presentation, and he said to me, he said, "Man, thank you, Reverend." And I said to him, "How did you know that I was a Reverend?" He says, "I didn't." He says, "It's just the respect that I have for what you have just shared." I thought that was good, so I evolved later on and realized that not so much about the title. It's about the actions that one displays. So I've learned through teachings, even Buddhism, Islam, and even associated with some shamans through my reading and then some personal interactions with humans, is that reverence the womb. That's basically Islamic teaching, the womb that gave you birth, that gave you life. So it's biological, but not that there is something um, far greater than that gave birth to me, and that gave birth to my mother, and so forth and so on. Yes. and that's original. You know, the more and more you think you found that, you don't find it because of it is abstract, but we give it a name. Yes, and at that it will be a higher source or a higher power. So, reverence the wound that bore me, and then after that, I looked at something called Koheleth. It was given to me, a brother by the name, associated with a brother by the name of Amulo Hagos, Ethiopian brother, and Koheleth is really a preacher. It associated that one who's a similar, I like it into one who's a similar, the language of knowledge and peace. When it says, let there be light, let there be knowledge, and knowledge applied becomes intelligence. Yes. And then therefore, when we have peace, that means that when we interact with one another, we are no threat to one another. So I also go by the name of a social interventionist and one that intervene in the affairs of others when things are not going the way they would like for it to go due to their social setbacks, because social stress leads to mental pain, and mental pain leads to physical harm. And it what it does, it helps give more credibility um, to a clinician or the mental health field. You know, yes, it gets more credit. It lightens the could make it seem, not as challenging, to get the help that you need. It also I am also known say, as a social interventionist. I said that say I do my I am a consequentialist, and I live my that's what I concluded that I am, and I live my life as an aspirant to be an inspiration to myself as well as to others. And I also have been charged the name as being a educational health enthusiast. Yes, and I really will operate best as an attorney general for humanity. And I would like to say I operate as a social health engineer. Yes, countering that which has been socially engineered to put each other at odds when it comes to the development of an intellect for the betterment of humanity. And the journey of life, community life, is to human excellence. That was Brother Imam Warren D. Muhammad made that clear. So if there is a call, it is a call to come back to your humanity, and many people are familiar with some people are familiar with the prodigal son in the Bible, in the English Bible. Yes. So, common humanity mission. Um, Promoters of the value of self-worth, communicated with precision a clearer image to the world through understanding, tolerance, temperance, confidence, and respect. And our mandate is to cultivate the potential of knowledge that is in us all. I do have three books out. One is Mental Constellation. The other is a book of poems to the depth of my soul, and the other is the overcoming being mentally enslaved, engaged, and enraged, a personal quest unto complete civility. Because the key to social life is family, and those who participate in that find joy, and those who don't find joy in misery. Misery. So, social intervention program, that which occupies the mind, condition the mind, that is the nature of the mind. The brain cells at its best is to is constructed to think correct. The incorrect interpretation of this universe is to live in harmony. Yes, we know that the mind at its best is to be productive, be fruitful and multiply, is to be productive. Let's get through this program and proceed on, will we? Next slide. Social intervention program structure. We all need structure in our life. Planet Earth is a sociological structure where there's inclusions and exclusions. We're social beings. We know now what is happening in the society in which we live, where people are being told to distance themselves from one another. And that can be very challenging because of the attachment. And that's another lecture within itself about attachment. But you become dependent on what people tell you, become dependent on people. And then all of a sudden, you've been told not to, and then you distance yourself, and it creates a chasm. And and far too many times, something will intervene, or something will come in that emptiness or that void, in that chasm, that space, and not something may not be as healthy as you would like for it to be. And we realize that even in relationships, when we interact with one another, we realize there are certain things that we really didn't like, and we spend so much time with one another, and we're spending more time with one another than what we really wanted to share. Now we have the time to really share how we really feel. It's like we agree on the surface, but beneath the surface, we're at odds with one another. Yes. So, and that's through outside influences and not being honest with ourselves and with one another, in our relationships, and even with ourselves, because there is a image. You go to your job and you have to act a certain way, then you come home, you may have to act a certain way. It's like you're playing, somebody's forcing you to play a role for them that it's not any within your nature to do so we become like pretenders. Then all of a sudden we can consume certain things, due to what we eat, and even drugs and alcohol or what have you. So something must intervene, and I'm hoping that this particular presentation in which I'm sharing will help play a part in strengthening and heightening your your serenity, and decreasing one's stress, because social stress leads to mental pain, and mental pain leads to physical harm. I realize there's three illnesses: mental suicide, emotional homicide, and spiritual genocide. Yes. hmm So, this social intervention program structure: constructive value dialogue, discussion and exchange, session resulting into effective communication, academically inclined for success, and practitioners of social maturity. That's why what we want to do, the end result, is to become practitioners of social maturity, because what we are saying to ourselves create our circumstances. So we must practice social maturity when it comes to how what we say to ourselves, in the manner and way in which we interact with one another, and may we not misuse and abuse these devices that we have when it comes to technology. And sometimes this technology take us from ourselves, whereas our social interaction skills and our lections and our listening skills are becoming very becoming diminished. And I always say that adequate cooperation leads to proper communication, and that's how we effectively coordinate our power. So we want to be effective communicators in diction skill, vocabulary skills, social skills, business skills, and journaling skills, so forth. So communicate effectively communicating. We're talking about the cause and effect. So when I deal with truth, I say that truth is the cause that impacts the results of one's reality. So we want to be effective, resulting for effective communication, academically inclined. We want to be academically inclined for success, and practitioners of social maturity. We have to do our homework. Yes, slide says, what do you stand for? You stand for courage, friendship, wisdom, justice, honesty, tolerance, imagination, equality, fairness, citizenship, self discipline, integrity, responsibility, creativity, caring, creativity, assertiveness, confidence, honor, empathy, accountability, respect, kindness, and restraint. And we really must strengthen our resolve, um, purpose, sincerity, sharing, forgiveness, cooperation, compassion, human loyalty. Yes. So what is being tested is our level of sincerity. How sincere that are we in regards to in the manner and way in which we treat one another. It has nothing to do with one's material wealth. We just treat one another because that's how we want to be treated as decent human beings, decent human beings. So that's why I like to say I come in the spirit of cooperation. And leadership for me is coordination. And I speak the authority in which one speaks from is resiliency. And biologically is that the meat, all those sperm cells, and then you or I, or many other people that are on this plane of existence are here, are here. Yeah. So forgiveness, we must learn to in this state quality and being. We must learn to forgive ourselves. You know what I'm saying, and we must learn to share. Be kind, be generous, and sometimes we are. It's difficult to be vulnerable because people have been trained and taught and to program to take advantage of one's vulnerability. That's why I said social interventional, social intervention program, so that we could go through a debriefing process and be deprogrammed. That when we say that we are at peace with one another, that we are no threat to one another. And restraint, that means we have to strengthen our resolve. Yes, we have to be strong, and that's real strength and that's discipline. Yes, and empathy. I always say that one's true purpose is to reach our full potential. And the spirit sin is not to reflect carelessness and callousness. We move from sympathy to empathy, and therefore we will be addressing the spirit of apathy. Accountability, the aim is accountability. It says in the English Bible that you missed the mark and they talk about sin. Well, there's religious teachings of Islam that we are born of nobility and dignity. This sin is a lack of accountability. It missed the mark. It is a missing of the mark, not being accountable. That's the aim. But for me, the ultimate aim is complete civility. I'm talking as in regards to this social intervention program um, uh, that I am introducing to you and sharing with you in this wise and at this time. So, in respect, respect. But back to accountability, I may say again, because we said we people have heard of Noble Drew Ali, Fallen Humanity, and remember I said the call is for us to come back to our humanity, and the material that has been given to us to build on our humanity is character. Character is the outgrowth of one's humanity. Yes, and recidivism, moral culture decline, moral culture decline. It's not too much sacred stuff, anymore. It's becoming really out of hand. It's like has the mind or the mentality or the attitude of the people who was pushing this humanity out there. It's like it has taken its course. It's taken its course. Yes, some would say that which we call God is the best planner. Respect, you yearn to earn the respect, and respect, as the Rastafarians would say, respect, the Ra, the light, the energy, knowledge. Yes. And it is saying about speck, how can you see the speck in someone else's eye and you can't see the log in your own eye? Yes, look in the mirror and look at yourself. Yes. Respect for me in the Latin sense, look at the ability of a person to accept him or her as they are. And it's natural order, it's natural progression. Like there says one brother killed his own ability. You kill your own ability when you Do you think you take the wrong attitude about how we relate and interact with one another based on their material value and material wealth? So we're unable to rise above that. And therefore we become, very envious and have a lot of sense of jealousy and hatred toward ourselves and even toward another. So this hate psychosis it has been created amongst humanity. So kind must be kind to one another because of our kind. We are of a what do you call it, a human species. Yes. Confidence, Marcus Garvey talks about he or she who has no confidence is twice defeated. And that's why I say that society is under a social reconstruction where our feeling becoming desensitized, our thoughts demoralized, our attitude dehumanized, and our communication devitalized, our activities stabilized. In this maturation process, it is the fourth component of these channels of communication, understanding, tolerance, temperance slash temperament is the confidence. It is the confidence of being able to cooperate with one another. It is said by some, and even Dr. Du Bois, and paraphrasing, and Kwame Ture, and search the evolutionary process, the natural order of things. And I'm talking about in a sense of an animalistic point of view. We must rise above of our animalistic nature because the open enemy is when he or she is unable to control their instinct. But this continuity, the continuity of our confidence in cooperating with one another must be replenished. I think Dr. King said that the ghetto is like a domestic colony, always being depleted but never replenished. So we want to continue to replenish ourselves. Yes, in the English Bible says, "Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind on a continuing basis, on a continuing basis, on a continuing basis." And we know sometimes we are in jobs that we do not like, and we do things that we uh, may not want to do, but we do it because we have to. And sometimes it could deplete us and get the best of us. So sometimes we have to take a break and go to a side. And some people would say a prayer and do something that is healthy, as opposed to something that is hurtful and harmful to yourself as well as to others. So then we deal with honor. Yes, we have to honor. And what are we honoring? We're honoring our word. Our word is our bond. And they say, well, what is the word? The word of God. The word is integrity. Honor your word. Honor your word. And we have to be very, very assertive and caring. People may not remember what you say to them, but more than likely they remember what you do to them and how you treat them. So that's why, as a saying by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, if a person don't teach you right, they ain't gonna treat you right. So we talk about caring one for another, the care that we need, the nurturing that we need, yeah, the concern, the love, and the compassion, and to be very creative, creativity. Yes, yes, be great, very creative. It sounds like it's very energetic, very energetic. And remember that the energy must be synergizing your energy. We always talk about integrity and self-discipline. Citizenship is associated with the word a civil. Yes, in the city. Civil. So we look at in the image of in the picture and image in the background. There are points and there are pictures and image in there where people are being very civil. Anything that goes on or has went on in the past, and those feelings that we have build up, we still must do our best to show restraint and be civil. One with another. We must rise above, being uncivil and being civil. And that's a challenge because I think that people are one of the challenges I think people are challenged with is two just use these two feelings of inadequacy and feelings of insecurity. And if those two challenges are there, then and Dr. Francis Wells Wilson would say that leads to violence because you try to compensate for that, those feelings of inadequacy and deep feelings of insecurity. And so that's another lesson within itself as well. Be fair, fairness. People say, well, there's nothing fair, but we just talking about being, very honest, caring, dealing with balance. Balance is the key to life, man. Be fair, when it comes to opportunity. I realize that opportunity is a direct correlation of ownership. So we must own up, to our responsibility and the consequences of our actions. And I have three core values: opportunity, expression, and appreciation. Imagination, Einstein talks about imagination, more powerful than knowledge. And tolerance, I call it universal tolerance. Like when you go on the elevator determines how much weight it can withstand. And you know how much you can take. So laws of physics say you only could take maybe 15% of pressure. Mentally, you only could take so much, So even when we deal with, once again, I always talk about the psychosocial dislocation and the emotional displacement, where that one who's has been dealing unable to express himself, the pain is so much that, and he's not strong enough mentally and emotionally, that he or she is unable to express themselves due to the negativity. And therefore, as Professor Hardy would say, psychologist, that you suffer in silence. It's like Brother Malcolm says about Novocaine. You suffer peacefully, which means when somebody give you Novocaine, you can feel the pressure, but you can't feel the pain. So that pain, that suffering. So Buddha talks about that's a part of life, but it's also associated with a purification process. You get into the draws off your goal. We have to deal with this reality in a way that doesn't cause us to act out of character when it comes to our human excellence as being human beings, that we become opponents and enemies of each other. And we must realize once again that the open enemy, or the enemy, is we are unable to control our instincts. Yes, the rise above our animal instincts. Honesty is key. Be honest. And courage, and friendship, and wisdom, and justice. Yes, good stuff here. So next slide we see. If I can go to it. Okay. It says that knowledge here breaks the spell of ignorance. Yes. Ignorance is a result of hostility, as if there's nothing else to be learned. But you think you know, you realize you don't know it at all, and there's more to be learned. Yes. Move to the next slide. Is that never forget. This is Marcus Garvey. Never forget. Oh, yeah, by the way, if I would go back to this slide again, forgive me, about the knowledge. Knowledge implied becomes intelligence, and breaks the spell, and deal with ignorance. And that brother Imam Jamil Alameen, former H. Rap Brown, he said that that which is oppressing us is ignorance. That which is oppressing us is ignorance. Yes. So we need a program that teach us to help us to overcome ignorance. And hopefully that which is being shared right now is a step toward that direction. Marcus Garvey said, never forget that intelligence rules the world, and ignorance carries the burden. Therefore, remove yourself as far as possible from ignorance, and seek as far as possible to intelligence. Yes, good stuff here. Seek and you shall find. Once again, I shared this before. Detox your life in four easy ways, four easy steps when it comes to ignorance, and the social intervention program presentation of becoming academically inclined for success and becoming practitioners of social maturity is that we eliminate anyone who lies to us, to you, who disrespects you, who uses you and puts you down. Yes. Okay, next slide, please. Here we go. It's a good one here, too. Uh, you are not free until you have no need to impress anyone. It's a good stuff. And you see the gentleman, or the icon is in the prison. because you're in prison when you live life trying to impress someone. And we know, we look at the media and the social media, and we look how people are portraying themselves in a manner, way to be something that they really not, and trying to impress others. But remember, you are not free until you have no need to impress yourself. Well, I can say this now: just go for it. How you know how you're going to able to achieve it, or get it, if you don't go for it? That's why I like what it says on the slogan: just do it. Just do it. But do it with a sense of integrity. Do it with a sense of decency. Because before anything manifests itself, it must first have order. When you have order, you have duty. When you have duty, you have responsibility. And when you have responsibility, you have accountability. And that's governed by the law of understanding. Yes. Next slide. Let's see if we can get to that. Next slide. Yes, man, this is kind of challenging here. And next slide, I'll proceed on. Yes. Um, let's continue to share this presentation with you as we become academically inclined for success, become practitioners of social maturity. We realize, and we see this is a spiritual science, uh, uh, intellectual property here. A strong soul shines after every storm. Yes, that's good stuff here. Now, it's a good one here. I like this here, that you can't change someone who doesn't see an issue with their actions. And I realize there's four things that we face every day: problem, questions, issues, and needs. And problems are designed to be solved, issues resolved, needs met, and questions answered. So the problems that many suffer from an identity crisis. Brother Anzola has said that in his book Hook or Crook. And the 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 need is for spiritual guidance, need. And the question is a question of governance, which means how we govern our daily affairs. And no one should be a regulator of your affairs. And we must realize that we are a government within ourselves, because all we have to do is look at our anatomy, how it is governed, our brain cells, how it's constructed, and how it is governed. You say the brain sends signals to your hand. If it's something is throwing you off, the neurological transmitters all of a sudden become disconnected, and you got something in your hand, and your mind goes somewhere else, and the fork or the thing that you had in your hand, it drops. Yes. So what you can't change someone doesn't see an issue with the action. The issue is character resolve, because character is the outgrowth of one's humanity. It's character resolve. See what we got going on here. Okay, where we at here? Oh, I forgot one. Yes, when you really pay attention, everything is your teacher. When you really pay attention, everything is your teacher. So we must pay attention to our surroundings, because the first sign of reading is not what you see on paper, it is observational as well. Observation. Next slide here. Stay away from negative people. They have a problem for every solution. That's a good one there too. So we're on our way to a close. And this is just a reminder: we're not here to open small minds. We are here to connect with great minds. So I want to say thank you for your time and your energy and everything else that goes with it. And my name, once again, is Reverend Wale Kevin, also known as the Koheleth, similar language of knowledge and peace, and Walimu for teacher, also social interventionist, also known as educational health enthusiast. And if you have any questions, concerns, or comments, feel free to email me at comhuem That's comhu, comhuem @gmail.com. The website is chumanity.org. And if you want to donate, the Cash App is CH Mission. CH Mission. And as we continue to do our best, and as we do our best, we continue to construct and build healthy and whole relationships with ourselves and to one another. And in the words of Dr. King, as we have not begun to live until we rise above the narrow confines of our own concerns, individual concerns, to the broader to the broader concerns, or the concerns of the broader society. I'm paraphrasing that, and we always say, "Give to the gift of social literacy." May we continue to bring out the best and development of the best of our human excellence unto our human excellence for development of our intellect, for the betterment of our humanity. Until next time, talk to you.